Hi, Tim. It's so great to have you here today with me on Conscious Conversations. I'm so excited to talk to you about all things breathwork, ice baths, and being able to have people access their inner power and their alignment through, getting rid of everything that's in the way of that connection, Tim. So thank you so much once again. And I can't wait to see what we're going to create in this space. And I'd love for you to speak to what you're doing up there in Brisbane, a little bit about, you know, your contribution to breathwork and ice baths.
Yeah, sure. No problem at all. And I love firstly, really happy to be here. And thank you for that generous introduction. Conscious conversations, you said it well, alignment and connection. Okay. And to me, as humans, we're built for connection. There's no surprise we're happiest, strongest, most deeply satisfied when we are connected. But also this little trick we have as humans, with our free will, we can choose to hang on to blockages or we can accumulate blockages. So to me, anyone in this space does one of two things. They either enhance connection or they remove blockages. And that then allows us to do what we do naturally, connect. So I'm really hoping in this conversation, the people listening get connected and aligned with that which is most important to them. So a little bit about me. Yeah, my name's Tim Thomas. And for the last decade, or more than a decade now, I've been working in veteran rehab. So I'm ex-Australian Special Forces. I served in Afghanistan and East Timor. I got out of the service with PTSD and it was undiagnosed. I'm just like, as long as I can work, I'm fine. And like most guys, I didn't really look at the problem until things started really going poorly for me. But then as I was getting out of it, I realized just how many other veterans are in that space. So with no previous experience or any kind of other than lived experience, I created some of Australia's most impactful programs. Now, why was I so impactful? Because I had a goal. My goal was to save 40 veteran lives from suicide, because we'd lost about 40 guys from bullets. And a lot of people don't know we've lost a bit over probably 20 times that amount to suicide.
That's
okay, so my goal was to
Tim.
save 40 guys. Oh, no, all these things happen in the quiet. And I don't want to dwell on that to bring the energy down, but it is something that happens. And to me, if you're going to go at, there's disconnecting and there's connecting. And there's no holding the ground, right? You're either spiraling up into the connections or you're spiraling down into disconnection.
I love how you created
and
that,
the ultimate
Tim.
oh yeah, the ultimate disconnect is suicide, I believe. Okay, the ultimate connection in my mind is that realizing that
life is a miraculous
and the
gift,
Indigenous say it well,
and that we get to be this incredible spirit in this physical form.
I love your
and
energy,
we get
dude.
to create reality as we want it. And we get to do this through thought and through word. And it's quite a miracle that we have this opportunity to experience the gift that is life.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Dee. And I'm completely agreeing with everything you're saying, the miracle. And my sort of, I guess my thinking is kind of logical in the way that, I grew up with the Indigenous. My father worked with them on the far west coast of South Australia. And they've got a really good saying, we're not connected to the land, we are the land. Okay. And if you want to take that, if you want to go down there, okay, right, if you really want to go there, we're not connected to other living things. We are those living things.
Wow.
And so when you actually get to the place of seeing other people as just a part of you, and you could no more hurt that person than hurt yourself. And so guess what? If you could build that person up, you're building yourself up. Now, within that space, there's a few ways to do it wrong, which I did, right? So I became very effective in the veteran space. Within 1 year, I'd saved 40 guys from suicide. Within 1 year.
Amazing.
And I was effective because I was dyslexic and I saw a pattern that no mainstream medical person saw. Okay. I worked with a charity called Mates for Mates. And in that space, there was millions of dollars coming in, but no one saw the obvious. And the obvious to me was pain. It didn't matter if it was physical or emotional. It got to a certain duration or intensity where it stopped just being pain and started transforming itself, often without the person even knowing, into loneliness and isolation.
Disconnect.
Okay. And yeah, so this is where we start spiraling into the disconnect. We're built for connection. Like if we look at another human and go, hey, I've got your back 100%, and I know you've got my back 100%, like everything else is a very small matter. Okay. And so the opposite to that is I'm the only one, I'm alone, everything's a threat because everything is a threat. And the problem with military people, we go back to our training, fight, flight, friend, enemy. The world occurs in two different colors. So the first thing that needs to happen, which everyone seems to miss, is before you pour in the resources,
Yes.
the isolation of that individual needs to be broken. Okay.
Yes. And true healing, I just want to add, Tim, from my own personal experience, I'll just add in there that true healing occurs with other people when we have a container, a safe space where we can be authentic, where we can share from our heart space. This is how we heal each other. We're actually designed to heal each other as human beings, and healed people heal other people. So it's just incredible. Thank you for letting me jump in there.
Yeah, no. And but the thing is, there's mirroring too. So heal people, hurt people, hurt people.
Yes.
Okay? Yeah.
Yes, so we've all heard of that.
And if you think of this, just to get it real, because people, good, it can be good, could be positive. Let's think of someone that's really hurt you, okay, and the damage and we've all been victim to that. Now imagine that damage, that hurt being in the reverse positive, the amount of build-up you could give someone, the amount of good feelings you could give somebody, that's within our power range. Okay. It just becomes evident and people get stuck on that end of the spectrum. But in that fully connected end, like that is unlimited. It's just that it's not as obvious, as the negative. It's more powerful, but just not as obvious.
Yes. So, and as you're speaking, Tim, what I'm really getting is the different levels of consciousness as well. As we operate from levels of love, from levels of joy, from levels of peace, we're then able to bring that energy and that space and have other people experience and, be consumed in that space also. And the same goes to, when we are operating from fear, anger, shame, hatred, guilt, all those emotions, and we project that onto people, and that experience is completely opposing. So I love what you're creating here in this conversation. It's incredible.
Okay. And the thing is, there's ways to do it wrong as well. Okay. There's ways to be generous and do it wrong like I did it. So what nobody knew, I was highly effective in that space, very generous with what I was creating and the people. But what people didn't know is every 6 or 7 weeks, I used to have to get blind drunk for 3 days. Okay. Because I was using, helping others as an analgesic to my own pain. Okay. And
so you were using helping others to validate yourself or to mask up the pain that you had internally.
Yeah, it was the metaphor I used. It was like a Panadol for a broken leg. It stopped me feeling the pain, but it wasn't healing me. But the other thing that I learned was I wasn't giving of my abundance. I was giving of myself. Okay. So my favorite saying now is I never give of myself. I give of my abundance.
Wow. Which I love means, that. The experience is so effortless and you're basically flowing and you're not depleted, or it's not requiring effort and manipulation and control, and it just
because if I'm just adequate, if I'm just at 100% and I give someone 10%, I'm like, well, I'm down to 90%, you better do something with that. Okay. But if I generate 250%, I can give away 20% every day, and they can love it, hate it, tell me to get lost. It doesn't matter, because in the past when I've been generous, I've been used, hurt, and then I make a rule to protect myself and say I'm never going to do that again. Okay. So, but now and this, if you might see my t-shirt, Grad Phys Gen. Okay. So I worked with a national university and they wanted me to reduce the amount of overseas students dropping out of their system. Okay. So I created small teams, and each day the university students made this t-shirt and gave me one. Each day they would, in small teams, keep each other accountable, do gratitude. Grat is gratitude, physicality, and then generosity.
Wow. Powerful stuff.
Well, here's the thing. So you couldn't do generosity, physicality, gratitude. No,
without the other.
You had to start with gratitude and physicality, connecting to yourself powerfully. And then you're able to do the act of generosity. So powerful connections inside oneself allows you to connect powerfully outside of oneself. What I was doing wrong was being generous because I thought it was the right thing to do. I was giving of myself. And it was sustainable, but it was creating an imbalance. Every 6 or 7 weeks, I used to have to write myself off for 3 days. Okay. So now generosity is part of my daily routine, but it's out of my abundance, not of myself.
I got that,
And
Tim. That's so clear. And can
and
I ask you, Tim, what do you do to get yourself in that space of gratitude, in that space of abundance, where you can then go out into the world and give of that abundance, where it's overflowing and it's spilling over onto everyone that you come into contact with, community, pretty much anyone that you are meeting throughout your day? What do you do? What are the tools that you have?
okay, well, first up, I don't see humans as generating energy. To me, we're as powerful as what we're connected to, what we're aligned to. Okay. I see humans a bit like solar panels. Okay. When you're aligned to the sun most powerfully, we can charge up our batteries but also you don't just charge up and illuminate the house, you feed into the grid. Okay, which you might call good karma. So when you're aligned properly, okay, and the thing is, as humans, we've got free will. Like everything in nature has a knowledge of where they get their energy from. Sharks eat fish, koalas eat leaves. That's where they get their energy from. Us humans, we can align ourselves with it, whatever we choose to. Like I could align myself with my sneakers if I wanted to, or I could, and it's different from person to person. So I believe everybody's got this divine signature that it shows up when if you I think of energy like money. How you invest it is how you get it back. Okay. And it's
what's the most precious commodity that we have, Tim, is our energy.
But everyone's got an individual signature. Like some person could invest $10 of energy playing a guitar and they get $1,000 back, so to speak. If I did that, I wouldn't get that same return. Okay. So when I share what makes me energized, please see it as me sharing and not me saying or telling people what they should and shouldn't do. What I encourage you to do is treat your energy like a shares portfolio. Okay. Like if you had a shares portfolio that was like, oh, these are big returns, I'm going to fill my portfolio full of that. Well, and these ones, you know what? I'm just putting good money after bad. Start seeing life like there's things that you do that give you a good return. There's foods that you eat that give you a good return. There's people that you have in your life that give you a good return. There's people in your life that give you a bad return.
That's so good. And it's almost like where intention goes, energy flows.
You could make a t-shirt out of that one.
I love that, Tim. Okay. And I know that, can I just speak to, I actually had issues regulating my nervous system for a long while, and I looked at different strategies and exercise and all sorts of different methods. However, for me, the most potent source or potent tool that actually really got me aligned, and I mean, when I say aligned, I mean it got me in the now, as my watch says. You can see that. And what I mean when I say it gets me in the now is that it gets me completely present. So my past disappears. There's no worrying about the future. I'm just here in my body and I'm present. And for me, the biggest resource and tool that I have access to in my own kit is actually breathwork, Tim. And I just want to say thank you so much for gifting me that resource prior to starting breathwork. I had no idea about the benefits of breathwork. And since I've started it, I've logged so many sessions. I do breathwork session every morning along with meditation, and it's a game changer.
Yeah. Dee, if I could speak to that experience that you're having. So people at home, you may have heard about breathwork, you may not have, but and there's 1,000 different techniques that you can do. But what I want to speak to right now is that you need to understand that as a living organism, we've been breathing for a lot longer than we've been thinking or even speaking. Okay. And that deep ancient wiring lives inside of us. So when we do breath work, we actually reconnect to that deep wiring. We cut out our thinking mind and we connect very deeply to a time when we didn't have thoughts in our head, words in our mouth. We didn't even have any concept of time.
It's,
before the world got complicated.
yeah,
All
it's
right. I
almost
know
like,
you want to pop in here. I
it's
know you want
almost,
to pop in. I got to finish these.
Tim, it's almost like we become no thing. Like we
Yeah.
become no thing. There's, no time, nothing. There's no past, there's no future. It's just complete alignment.
Yeah. We actually connect with our bodies. Okay. Now our mind, it's a relatively new bolt-on to our being. Okay. And God bless it, it's trying to help by adding meaning to everything. Okay. But when you breathe, you actually cut that part out. It's the only thing I've found that shut down the overthinking mind. Because you're talking to a veteran with PTSD, they gave me a lot of pharmaceuticals
Mm.
trying to shut this thing off. But breath work shut it off. But the other thing you need to understand is, and this lends itself to the connection. So do you remember how I spoke about blockages? Once you remove the
Mm.
blockages, we connect naturally. Okay. So the thing that makes breath work so very powerful is as we breathe, we take on what I've termed the nature of air. Okay. And if you try and wave your hand through the air, try and grab air, you can't hold the air. Okay. Air cannot be held. Now, that may seem like an obvious statement, but it's a very important property that we take on, because as we breathe, that breath work doesn't allow us to hold on to our physical tension. It doesn't allow
Mm.
us to hold on to our mental tension. Okay. And once those blockages have been removed and you can actually connect to this wonderful body that we're living in, that is an incredible space. It feels like nothing and everything.
It's amazing, Tim. And it almost takes me back to a section in the Bible. When human beings were created, God actually, he breathed breath, air
Yeah.
into.
We were just dirt before we breathed. So that divine connection through breath, that a lot of religions have breath as holy. It is a divine experience, and I believe the divine experience happens when
Mm.
we're most aligned, which happens when we remove the blockages. And when you really get into those states of breath work, if we're going to use the solar panel, that solar panel naturally lines up to that which is most important.
Yeah, beautifully said, Tim. Look, is there a technique that we can share that, is a
I'm
quick.
aware of the time. I'm very happy to share with you the best one that I can show that you can just keep in your back pocket. Okay. So my goal is for everyone to get value out of this. And if I can give you one technique, there's 1,000, but what you're going to discover is, and I'll give you a link to my site so you can have more resources after this. But what you're going to discover, you don't own a pair of lungs. What you own is a medicine cabinet with
Mm.
a lot of different shelves. Okay. And depending on how you breathe, you can elicit a certain medicinal response through your body. All right. But the best one I'm going to show you right now that you can do whenever you want, day, night, it's called the physiological sigh. Okay. It's 3 movements. You breathe in through your nose and then in through your nose again. See, I'm sort of raising my eyebrows and raising my shoulders a bit. And then I just let it out like, and let everything melt, 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 melt.
Mm. Gets you
And whenever
centered.
you feel, yeah. So think of it. I just want to sort of speak to that technique. Breathe in, and feel that sort of tension as you're breathing it in, but then just let it all out. Really long exhale, really long exhale, 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 exhale. And so whenever you want to sort of, you could do it while you're waiting in a queue, you're getting frustrated, while you're in traffic, these sorts of things are there to reduce the amount of cortisol, control your heart rate, control your immune response. And the reason you don't hear about this stuff is because no one's making money from it. It's free, non-addictive,
Mm.
non-toxic, and you can do it whenever you want. So this is what I love about breath work. When I connect somebody, see, this is what, okay, and I just the last thing I want to tell everybody here, people are mistaken when they think that we're in an age of information. We're actually in an age of marketing, okay?
Mm.
So the first 6 pages of Google are marketers, all right? And there's a big difference between a marketer and a healer, or someone who's empowering you, okay? A marketer, God bless them, they know exactly what you want to hear. Yes, that one thing's going to solve everything. Yes, I'm just, look, shut up and take my money, all
Mm.
right? And a marketing done wrong, they'll take dollars out of your pocket as you put into an early grave. Okay, but what an empowering person will do, or a healer, they know their energy is not enough for two. But what they have is an alignment or a connection to something very powerful, and they'll connect you to that powerful thing
Yes.
in far
Yes.
less time than it took them to figure it out.
Mm.
Okay. And once you've got that connection, once you've got that alignment, and
You're
this is what I love about breath.
self-generated, Tim. You can self-generate your own power.
Yeah.
You're not reliant on a product. You're not reliant on a service. You're not reliant on a drug or a pharmaceutical company or a doctor. You have the power within you. And when you align with that and you experience that, that is where humanity's power lies. It does not lie in the pharmaceutical systems. It does not lie in the injections. It lies in the food, in the sun, in our health and well-being, in our connection, in our ability to create empowered communities that love and take care of each other. This is incredible, Tim. Thank you so much. And I know that you're an ice man and an ice bath expert. And, you know, we might do another you might do another
Yeah.
ice bath.
Look, there's a lot of content here, but
Yes.
what I want to give people, I do want to give people some resources. So my personal vision is that no one in Australia cannot afford a good night's sleep. Okay.
Incredible.
So I'm generating my landing page is called breathworkinbed.com.au.
Okay.
It helps people breathe to get to sleep, as well as breathe getting out of bed. The app is launching January 2024. Right now, I've got a bunch of free resources on the website. If you subscribe, you'll get ebooks, audiobooks. You'll also, I will personally send you out a copy of my book, Fight, Flight, Feel, which
Fight, Flight, Feel. Incredible.
Yeah, which is free. You just got to pay for postage and handling. And I just want to. I had to go all the way to Afghanistan to realize that even if I'm being selfish, it makes a lot of sense if people around me are rested and connected. I mean, who do I want around me when good times turn bad? You know, my survivability goes up when people around me are rested, connected, strong. Yeah, but what other options do we have? I mean, would I prefer people around me tired, cranky, turning on each other? Like, yeah. So this is my effort to align people to something powerful. And I think in my mind, if you truly care about somebody, you'd care about how they sleep. If you really want to build someone up, you'd ensure that they have a good night's sleep. And, you know, imagine, and I'm sort of tangenting here because sleep's kind of my passion for people. I mean, breath work is a gateway to sleep for me, amongst other things. But I just want to sort of leave people with what I'm trying to generate here. And that is, imagine if sleep was a collective responsibility. Like, if I cared about somebody, I'd care about how they sleep. And imagine if the leaders of our country's effectiveness was measured by the quality of sleep of the population they govern.
Wow.
Like, they can be building buildings, they can be making money, but people aren't sleeping peacefully in their beds at night.
This is an incredible possibility, Tim, for people. I mean, just something as simple as sleep is a complete game changer for people, to have the experience to show up powerfully for their lives, for the people around them. Sleep is, you know, one of the most important things that you can take care of for yourself as a human being. And I want to take this opportunity to really acknowledge you, Tim, for your commitment to people having access to their body, mind, spirit connection, and, you know, your love for people to live an incredible life. So I just want to say thank you so much for what you're creating here. Breathwork in Bed, and you've got a landing page and a whole bunch of free resources. So that's incredible. I'll actually post a link down here for people to access as well, Tim. I just want to say thank you for taking this time to be with me, and sending you lots of love. Thank you so much, Tim Thomas.
Thank you so much. It was great being on Conscious Conversation with you, Dee. And all those people listening, I really hope you got something from it.